specifically. So smaller crowds, obviously, but that experience, along with their experience at other venues, kind of gave us a comfort level we could try this. Now, keep in mind, this is only in the suites in the club section, so that was on a broader scale. So really the idea of trying a pilot program really came more from studying what other schools are doing.
Well, leading to that, Maryland has approved it. Texas started, I think, a year ago with their approval toward it.
This year, actually.
This year, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been coming. You mentioned when those schools approved it that it was something you all would continue to monitor. Has that furthered the process, watching the climate and watching what other schools are doing? Has that furthered the conversation?
Exactly. So we're fortunate. We have a great athletic council here, and in all my years in this, been doing what I've been doing, I've never had the great athletic council like I have here. A group of faculty and alums and students who help us with a lot of decisions, tickets and budget and facilities and things of that nature. They decided that they wanted to study this more intensely, more than I did. And when they started that thought process and started collecting data, and they made a commitment this year to study it even more, they were on board with the pilot program that we're implementing now. And Jack Miner's here, who heads up our subcommittee for the Athletic Council, and I'm excited to have his leadership to look at what other schools are doing, to your point, and then if we ultimately did anything here, what would it look like? And so this is kind of fits into that.
So why only in suites and club level?
Because I don't think we're ready to go totally outside. We want to allow our athletic council and Jack's subcommittee to do their due diligence, looking at all the other schools, what they do. We're unique. We're 108,000 seats, unlike Maryland, unlike the other schools that are doing it. Every public school in the state of Ohio does it. I remember Toledo's been doing it for years. But there's slightly different demographics, slightly different logistics. So we need to look at what we do, because our primary objective is to respond to our customers. Many of our suite holders and club seat people over the years have asked for this, and some people in the stadium have as well. So we just need to take our time and do it the right way, because whatever we do, we have to make sure we do it in a safe way, because that's our responsibility.
Will it then be looked at, is this kind of a pilot to look at if this will expand to everyone here?
Yes, that's exactly right. So Jack's subcommittee is going to look at that this year and study it, and sometime next year we'll figure out what we're going to do.
So why the move this way? Traditionally, college stadiums have been dry. Why this move?
Actually, I was against it several years ago in this environment. And if you watch the college landscape, an old head like me has to be more curious. And there's attendance issues across the country. We're competing significantly with the living room and the curved TV and all those type of things. And so we have to keep looking at different ways of doing things. A couple of years ago, most of you know, we opened up the video replay so that our fans in the stands can see what people in their living rooms are seeing. And there's more and more schools that are looking at this from a customer service point of view. So if we can do it safely, and if we can do it in a way that meets the expectations of our athletic council and our university, then we'll make sure we do it the right way if we end up doing it.
Gene, do you have to increase the number of security personnel in the stadium on game day?
My assumption is yes, but I would rely on our study to tell us that. I don't know if it's necessarily security as much as it is more people to help us monitor what goes on in the stands. We do not have to always have a security person, so to speak, to help us facilitate any issues that we have in the stands.
You said about studying the possibility of full public sale. Did you consider it at this point?
For a brief moment. It was about that long, Todd. But no, I just think we got to do it right. I really do. I think we're different than everyone else. I think you know that. I'm preaching to the choir, and so we have to be careful and make sure if we do it, we do it the right way. And so I'm fortunate to have great people that will look at it and give us what the best practices should be, and make sure that we're taking care of our people the right way.
Gene, about that, so that policy, that will be evaluated at the end of this coming season?
Yes.
Okay, so
yes.
This will be the policy throughout the...
Yes, this is a pilot program for just this year.
Okay.
Yep.
So you...
Hi, Doug.
How are you, Gene? So this decision is influenced in part by the changing landscape.
Yes.
There's some other schools that are doing it.
Right.
Do you think other schools will now look and see that Ohio State is trying it out,
Sure.
and that will influence other
Sure,
people?
I think it will. I think it will. I think, now keep in mind, there's a whole lot of schools that already do suites and club sections. I mean, we're far behind in that regard. So the big issue is like Texas is doing. They're going full blown outside. So that's, to your point, if we get to that point at some point in time in our future, then I think it will have that influence. Right now, there's a lot of schools that sell in their suites and their club sections. We're kind of way behind on that.
In what you guys have studied, what number do you think that is? How many?
I don't know. I don't think we even studied the club
Okay, you
sections in suites. I just know that based upon my years of traveling and going to different stadiums, and there's a lot. I did it at Iowa State. I mean, so that's not unique typically. So
When you look around the country, there have been more and more schools doing it, as you said. And even though you are different, has the data shown that this is a safe thing that can be done at places? I mean, I know West Virginia
Yeah.
started, and it seems like I read that there actually had incidents go down.
yeah, I believe that's the case. I believe ultimately you can drive incidents down, but I want the experts to help tell us that. So, and the best practices nationally. I was fortunate to be on the Fiesta Bowl board and when I was at Arizona State, and I was in charge of operations. So I was there when the Buckeyes came for the championship game in charge of operations. And I knew that the alcohol that we had to manage that in a great way. So we had a great program there. We opened it and sold pregame. We shut it down 3 or 4 minutes into the third quarter. Never had an incident. We had wristbands for people, so it works. But this is bigger. You know, this is bigger. We have a responsibility to make sure that if we provide this for the people who support our team, you know, we got to make sure we protect them. We got to make sure we do it the right way, because all it takes is one. So we just have to make sure we have the best practices in place. Because this is bigger than Tempe Stadium.
You've had this at the Huntington Club over at the shop for
Right.
15 years since
Right.
the building opened. And just what's been maybe the experience, or what's been it seems pretty low key over
Works
there,
well.
that it's not
That's well said.
so
Yep.
intrusive.
It works well over there. We haven't had any issues, and obviously, again, that's a little different environment. There's no tailgating, so you don't have the pre-drinking coming into the shot that I'm aware of. Of course, it might be, but anyway, we don't have that issue that we have to
Very
think
cold
about. But it's worked well over there. It's worked extremely well, and that's one of the things that's great about Levy is they have that experience under their belt, and we've done concerts over there before in the shot. So with alcohol, so I think we have enough, but we just have to think about this facility a little differently.
Gene, have you projected how much revenue this will generate by allowing?
No, I haven't done that. We know that it would be a good number, but we haven't gone down that path.
Was that in any way a deciding factor in this decision?
Sure. You know, the revenue part is important to the institution. You know, our president has an initiative on affordability, and we always see ourselves as a financial asset to the institution and helping with different initiatives across campus. And so whatever it ends up being will be a part of whatever he wants to do in that regard from an academic point of view. And then we have some things in athletics relative to our student athlete welfare and educational issues that we want to make sure we take care of. So most of you guys are watching the changing landscape around resources, so we need to think about other opportunities to generate revenue for our athletes and for the institution.
So Jeanette, there is a direct tie there that if you're spending more on athlete stipends or unlimited food or that kind of stuff, then you have to be open to bringing in money in new ways?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, we have expenditures that are commitments for a lot of different areas. So when the meal legislation came on board, when the cost of attendance came on board, we had to think differently about those commitments, but also think about how we could generate more revenue. And here it's a little bit difficult, quite frankly, because we are being very sensitive to our ticket sales. I mean, you guys saw that this year. We're trying to move towards variable ticket pricing. And we dropped from $79 to $65 for 2 games. And, do the math on that. That's a big number. And so we took a hit on that intentionally to try and be more customer service oriented. And so because of those things, we have to kind of think about what other revenue streams can we create. And so our team is good. They do a marvelous job with that. And this is one. And actually keep in mind, majority of this revenue, it all won't come back to athletics. Remember, some of it will go to academics.
So do you think most fans will be on board with this, or do you
Oh,
expect
I don't
some
know.
people won't like it?
It's like everything we do, you know, there'll be those that will accept it and be happy with it, and those who have said it for years, we ought to be doing this, they'll be happy. There'll be some challenges, people who will disagree with it, and that's okay. That's why we live where we are in this great democratic society. And so we'll try our best to make sure that we do it the right way, and then hopefully we can alleviate any concerns that someone would have.
Do you know, you may not know this yet, but how it will actually work?
No.
Will it be an independent vendor or something, or?
No, it'll be Levy. Relative to your question
No, I
about,
mean, in terms of like, would it be like a separate stand, or would they?
I have no clue. No, I have no clue. I have my ideas how I would do it, but I would defer to, you know, Molly from Levy Concessions. You can talk to her, and she can tell you how she might think she'd want to do it. But again, her parameters would have to adjust to whatever our athletic council puts in place. You know, they may have some ideas that operationally we need to think about, and she'll have to adjust based upon the guidelines they come up with.
So you're not sure of like specific prices for each drink or
No,
like what kind? It's
no.
all based off of what Levy.
Except for yours, I don't know whose price. No, but so no, I don't. You know, we haven't even gone there. I apologize. We just haven't even gone there. We know that, you know, Molly and I talked about if we end up doing something, we'll go local because we're doing that in the suites. We're going to make sure we pay attention to our local breweries, so to speak, and make sure they're engaged in a great way. So we're going to do that in the suites. And so if we go outside, then we do that as well. It's important to make sure we do what we need to do in Ohio.
So Gene, if this is a pilot program, why wouldn't you expand it to the full stadium at some point? Like what could go, what are you looking for that would be a red flag?
I'm not looking for anything, and I'm not going to say what I think, because that gives somebody an idea. But anyway, you know, I don't know. I really don't, Doug. As most of you don't know, I don't make decisions in a vacuum. I mean, most of you know I'm a very inclusive leader, so I'm looking forward to hearing what others think and see. And if someone presents something to us in the institution as significantly problematic that we can't manage, I don't know what that would be, then, you know, we'll probably walk away from it. I can't see what that is now, but, you know, we don't know what we don't know yet.
Is there anything left, do you think, of, I think probably in past years there was the idea of this is amateur athletics, this is kids, you know, playing the game.
They'll still be playing the game.
You shouldn't have beer at the stadium. Do you think is that still a part of any of this? Or do you think in an era where the landscape is changing, do you think that idea is gone?
Gone. You know, you and I have had that conversation before. You know, it's we are, you know, most people don't like the term we're a collegiate model, we're an educational model. You know, they still are amateurs, but the old model, the way we think about it, is different. And here, Ohio State is a perfect example of that. We have 81 suites that are sold out, and every Big Ten game is sold out. And so, you know, that's gone a little bit.
Okay, anything else?
There'll be beer available in this suite this fall, then, right?
Or
Or one like this?
This is, yeah, one
This
like
is the
this. Yeah, this is the
president's
president's suite. He'll have to make his own decision. I
Sure.
would not have beer in my suite,
Okay.
so you guys can't come to my suite. I know it's right next to where you guys work, so we won't have beer on the working level. So, you know, I know you guys will have your little stickers if you're trying to sneak around, but the president will have to make that decision about what he's going to do.